So this is what I'm thinking as for a template for the scuppers for the back here. So that will be recessed down. So I'll sand down probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 mil, which will make that sit a bit more flush. And then the bottom of that scupper will just be lower than it, or lower than the top of the deck here. So I think just creating something like that, it's a bit of a channel so the water can get out either side. So I'll put one here and there. Yeah, I'm assuming that something like that will work. So that's where that will come out. That will come out. I won't drill these out until the whole thing's been laminated, both sides. Just a lot easier to laminate on a flat surface. Otherwise, if you're trying to laminate, you're going to have these air bubbles in here from the holes there. Alrighty. So what I've done here is just run a bit of a concave here so water can pull down and hopefully track into this, and it gives us a lower point here as well. So it should be in level, nearly the top of the thing should be nearly level with, top of the scupper should be level with the, I guess, deck, so water should just flow straight down. Now to do one more of them. So all I'm trying to do here is, when we CNC'd the deck out, the router couldn't get close enough to the side here, so we had to leave this bit of foam on the top deck and underneath. So I've jimmied up a bit of a hole saw on the end of the shaft, and I'm just slowly spinning it so that the shaft can go all the way through. So it can go all the way through. You can see already how far it's gone in. Only needs to go to the top of this here. So we'll get it all the way to the end and not pierce through the glass yet. So that just means doing this, I can then start working on the top here, because I've got to insert a foam there as well. Get into it. So we're just spinning it, using the hole saw to do the work. It's a bit hard to do it with one hand, but and video. Now you can see the tube, but it hasn't come through the glass yet. I'll just hand sand that down so it's nice and flush. Once it's been bulked and set. Also put some bulk in. I might put a bit of carbon, or carbon will go over that, sorry. Obviously cut that tube off so it's nice and flush. Just put a curve, a slight curve, so this is going to sit flush. So a slight curve in the foam. Now that's nice and flush now. Once I put some bulk in there, I'll make it even more flush. Fit out, slowly getting there. So just softening the edges to make it a bit easier to glass. So I've routed out this groove here, so that's where a strap will strap down, and I'll have little lugs. Surfboard little lugs, a bit like, not that, like that. Little lug in there, which will then, the strap will come down and attach into that. Didn't actually film bogging or gluing it together. Just wanted to get it done. Yeah, it looks nice. So this is a split. Next thing I'll do, I'll make the hinge. So I could simply just buy a standard stainless hinge, but I'm going to actually infuse carbon and Kevlar together to create a hinge. Don't know if it's going to work out, but we'll see. It just means that you can't rattle. And it's all going to be glassed in. Should look quite cool, I reckon. So we'll have like the yellow Kevlar showing through the gap here. See how it looks, I guess. It's heaps of insulation really for what I need. 30mm thick. 1100 long. Should be good. Just having a look at how the icebox looks in the skiff. It'll be probably one of the last things I put in and glass in, but just wanting to make sure that the sides here are higher than the icebox height, just because if it's the other way around, when I go chuck it on the roof of the car, that this will sit a bit weird on top of the car and it won't be flat. So I've had to take initially these sides down by, I think it was 20mm to make it fit, but now it's got plenty. Probably got 10mm. So this is what the design is. There'll be a hinge here, and that will hinge up, and then fish or whatever storage can sit in there. And this is where I'm going to have that strap down so that this won't, I guess, bobble around like that at all. It'll be nice and tight. Looks nice. And that's where the fuel line will run out, come up here, come out of there, but I'll cut that out last once it's all glass. So I'll just have to make sure I get this measurement from here to here to get that perfect. So it's all coming together slowly. Still so much to do. If I had a whole week, I reckon I'd get it done, but unfortunately work and life commitments get in the way. But that's all good. It's a fun little project. Let's get into it. So one of the next things I'll do, I'm going to use these off-cup paddle shafts, which are carbon. I'm going to sand out in this inlay bit here. Sand it out so that will be flush. So it will end up being like that. Or flush with the deck, sorry. So like that. Then I'll sand out around it like a hand groove, and this will become my handle in the middle so I can carry it. So that should make it a lot easier to carry. Even though it's only 1 meter wide, it's still a little bit awkward, especially just getting it in around the factory at the moment. So that will sit down there, and just picture that a bit like this, how this has been sanded out. That will be pretty much the same around the width of that rod. So then you can chuck your hand underneath it. So that should make it a lot more, yeah, like I said, a lot easier to carry. And I'll glass and bog this in, so it should be super strong. I just got to work out now where I want and the balance point where it needs to be. I'm thinking probably somewhere like that, because initially, without me being in it and the motor being on, there's going to be a fair bit of weight up the front with the esky, and then obviously the inbuilt storage compartment up here. So I think having this as far forward as possible, just the balance point, I think it's going to be the best. I think having it back here, it's just going to be too nose heavy. So getting it a little bit more center, I think it's going to be the best spot. So I might even something like that. I reckon that would look pretty good. So just went and grabbed my little sander that I'll be mounting, and I'll probably actually have to bring this back a fair bit. Otherwise, if it's too close, the handle's going to be underneath there. So I might just go like that. It's hard. One hand, so something like that. That's where the handle will be, I think. Probably would like it to be a little bit further forward, but that's where I'm going to mount the little GPS sounder. Also, another thing I've got to think about, I've got a in-hull or through-hull transducer for this, so how I'm going to mount that on the bottom of the hull. So I think I might glass the bottom first and then route it out and put it in. And then I'll probably shoot it up through here and maybe come up through the wall of the ice box. I think that's probably going to be the best way to do it. Old bit of sandpaper, which is pretty good size. Just fold it in half. Use it to get the center, and I'll use this as a template as where I would have to. handle, integrated handle. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. I'll just have to, I think I'll bog that in. And then I have to wait, I think. Should be plenty of room. I might just take that little bit out there. It's not much. Ah, that's better. Handle. I'll glass that in. Might just get some tape and tape this, because I think this being exposed carbon might look quite good. So I'll tape up to here maybe, and tape, and leave that there, and that's where that will bog in. And then I'll have this all taped so I don't get resin over that, and that will be like polished carbon. Look quite nice. And that will be glassed. I don't know if I'm going to be able to vacuum bag the top unless I do these as patches. It's the only way I can think how it will be able to be done. You can see here the integrated handle. Hand shaping is pretty well done now. In the next video, probably get into vacuum bagging the outside of this hull, and then getting into probably a little bit of the transom, and then just glassing little bits of these things in. Also working out a way to put the inbuilt or through hull transducer. So I'll show you a quick video now of how the esky and the GPS is going to look mounted, but I've just got to think of a way how to put the transducer through the hull, because it is inbuilt in the hull, and that's the reason I didn't want a transom mount, because it could get knocked off. So that's how it's gonna look with the handle in there. Obviously that will sit back a little bit more, give me a little bit more angle. That's the esky. Handle I reckon looks good. And this is what I've got to try and work out. This is a skimmer. This could be like a trolling motor or in hull. But I'm wanting to get it up inside the foam, so route out the glass and have that up pretty much roughly where that is, right there, and then shoot a hole up through here underneath this, run it up on top of that pipe. Then I'm thinking of running it up and then drilling a hole up through this wall of the esky, so that thickness, and then it will come out through here, the tube. Well, actually, it will come out through this wall. So it'll come up through the thickness of the esky up here, and then come out here and attach there. And I'll have like a waterproof grommet right there, so water can't get into the foam. And I'll make sure it's all well Sikaflexed. But I'm just, there's a little bit tricky because I can't do one thing without the other. I think the next thing I've got to do is just the outside skin, have that all glass, cut out the transom, put thermalite in there or a composite foam, and then I think everything will start getting into its place a little bit. At the moment, it just feels like I'm not sure where to start and finish. So we'll end this series here. So it's all slowly getting there. You can see the shape. Just got to remember there's a bulkhead up the front there, so it won't look so empty. Fuel tank, it's going to sit here. Bulkhead here. Yeah, looking really good. It's getting there.